Go, which is a little bit academic, but not that academic, because Go is a strategy game that uses a lot of, I'd say, different types of principles, because it's competitive, but you have to kind of think, globally, rather than, oh, I just want to win, as many of your soldiers as, or what you call those pieces, so you can take over as many pieces of that opponent, or you can take over the territory, right? So Go is one of those games, that the board games, that I think is the types of chess that I think is, it teaches them to think at a different sort of perspective and level, so that they learn to kind of look at the whole picture, rather than just, so look at the war to win the war, rather than just the battle. I like that type of, strategy. And so my kids, I have enrolled in those classes. And so, like, when we are talking about what kind of model we want to have, um, structure-wise, for our children, for example, I think there's different models that we can look at. Now, I'm not saying one model is going to be more successful than the other, but we need to be congruent, right? So I personally believe that there is. So my philosophy is, yes, I grew up in an Asian culture and there were expectations, but the way my parents raised me is they gave us enough freedom to choose what it is that we wanted to become. So yes, they had set the expectations of, hey, we want you to become a professional when you grow up. But my parents also never forced us to do any extracurricular activities, you know, such as, for example, piano, right? So I've plenty of times, alluded to the fact that I actually had to make the proposal and actually approach my dad before he would even consider letting me take piano lessons. So it's a very different model, right? And I want to at least give my children also that option, for them to be able to kind of choose, right? So I want to have that congruence of the best of both worlds if possible. So if I say that, I want my kids to have that freedom of choice, I need to be able to present them with a model that is going to allow them to also have that freedom of choice. So there are plenty of Asian parents who are going to say, "Oh, well, I don't expect them to, become a doctor or a lawyer or whatever." But then they're putting their kids into every single class that you can think of under the sun. And so I feel that's incongruent, because what is it that they're trying to do when they structure their kids' after school activities into another 4 hours of class time? I mean, children have to be children, right? Now, I'm not going to get all philosophical on this, because there's a lot of different ways to have this conversation, and I'm not trying to, steer one way or another. But in terms of like being congruent with what it is that you say and do, I feel is very important, because if we can show them that we are congruent in our values and our systems and our models that we actually are putting them in, and how we raise them, then they themselves will then have a much clearer and more aligned way of making their choices in the future when they are presented with choices. So I think it's great to have clear expectations, but if we could make it so that it's congruent with our values and how we would like to live our lives, then I think it all ties together. And it all comes full circle when we are being clear. Because when we're being clear, we're being kind. All right, Healthy Wisdomers, it has been another amazing episode that we could share with you. And I am so excited that you guys are fully supportive, and very, very, very grateful for that. please take a minute to subscribe, follow, and rate this episode so that we can share this wisdom with everyone around us. And let's invite them to join us on this journey. This is the Healthy Wisdom Series with Dr. Jen Chen. I'll catch you guys next week.